How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
Stay safe. My bubble's about this big.
So I know we have Tim, Mike, Rick, Jeff, and Jeremy Mullins. I have someone else on here, but it's not showing, just shows NA. Is Clemens here?
George online?
He's in a,
He's in A. At the moment, he's in A.
I could make up a whole lot of things for that, but we'll let that pass for now.
Jeremy, I did use my phone, so I don't know.
That
I
could
called
be.
and I'm not online.
Well, we have two callers on. George, are you on?
Yes, I am on.
All right. Well, we're all here then. And it's 4 o'clock.
Hi, guys, how you doing?
Good. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Wouldn't miss it for the world. Well, maybe I would.
Now, don't lie.
Yeah, George's signature and Tim's signature, so I'm going
Okay.
to ask them to come in.
Well, tell you what, guys, if everybody's here, let's call this meeting to order. Let us stand and make a pledge of allegiance, as is our tradition. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
and pass the Purell.
Indeed.
Yes. Okay, let's get into the rest of it. First of all, we'll go to the minutes of the previous meeting, the October meeting. You should have in your packet the redevelopment meeting from October 5th. Everybody should have that, so I'll ask if anybody has any changes, corrections, additions, deletions. Hearing none, I'll ask for motion to approve as presented.
Jeff Gross, so moved.
Jeff has moved. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that. This is Mike.
Mike seconds. Okay. We'll do roll call vote real quick. Rick Snodgrass.
Yes.
Jeff Gross.
Yes.
George Clemens.
Yes.
Mike Landeris.
Yes.
And Tim Meyer says yes. Okay, let's move on to claims. And I'll let Jeremy lead this off. Oops.
Yeah, we do have a few claims. The county treasurer is a tax bill for, what parcel was that? Yeah, I see that. I'm trying to remember what parcel was for. It's a ditch
$30.
assessment. Yeah, it's $30.14. It's a ditch assessment. I believe it's our tech park property.
I was gonna say, in the northern tip district.
Yeah. The $600,000 for the city of Warsaw is our contribution to the sewer bond in the Northern TIF district. The capital equipment sales, $250,000, is for the next remedy deal that we're going to finalize today. Baker.
Wait a minute, hang on a minute. Go back up to the $600,000. Could you have that claim just modified a little bit to put a little further explanation than what's on there? It says money's obligated to wastewater department for Northern TIF. We've already committed to that, correct?
Yeah, so we committed So when the original sewer bond was done in, I think, early in 2004, this was for the old sewer plant, we committed $600,000 a year, and I think that ran through 2024. With the new sewer bond that was done, what has it been, 2 years ago now? We re-upped that commitment another 6 years to go through 2030. So this 600,000 coming out of the Northern TIF district will run from 2020 all the way through 2030.
Okay. Could you add to that, the claim that just the voucher, that it's for the sewer? Just so that we have a better explanation on that, because that's the only document we have for this, for $600,000. I'd like to have a little more explanation on it.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Tim, because I was thinking the same thing. And I would also like to see on there an ending date.
So right now, the ending date is 2030. So the last payment will be made in 2030.
Right. But if it's on there for our use for future.
Yeah, I just put it, I'll put on there, I just put on this claim, sewer bond issue 2004 through 2030.
That's fine, just so
Okay.
we know what we're buying.
No, I certainly understand that, and obviously the original agreement was done before any of us was here. The re-up of the 6 years was done, I believe, in 2018, end of 2018? I think we re-upped that to go through 2030.
Yeah, well, we did that, and
Yes.
I recall that, such a large amount, but, yeah, just so we have on the annual bill here.
Yes.
A full explanation of what we're paying for.
Nope.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to.
Nope, that's fine. Capital equipment sales, 250,000, that's an extremity deal where we're buying a piece of equipment. Baker Tilly, 4,950 is for the work done on that deal. Wessler Engineering, 3,043, I believe this is for the tech park. Oh wait, no, sorry, this is for the lateral locations agreement that we signed with them out at the airport industrial park.
Right.
Barnes and Thornburg, 12,614.38. That is for, this is for the next remedy work that they've done and the resolutions and putting this deal together. American Structure Point, 7,360.26 is for the Buffalo Street project. A&Z, 5,940 is for 300 North and 200 West engineering. And Huntington National Bank 250 is, and the additional Huntington National Bank that we added for 250 is both for the bond issues for Wino PBD 2 and 3.
And they got it in on time this year.
They did, barely.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions regarding the claims? Comments?
Mr. Greg, I make a motion to approve claims as presented.
Rick makes motion and claims be presented, approved as presented. Do I hear a second?
I will second that, George.
That's George, okay. We have a second. Okay, I'll now call for roll call vote. Rick Snodgrass?
Yes.
Yes. Jeff Gross?
Yes.
George Clemens?
Yes.
Michael Adair?
Yes.
Yes. And Tim Meyer, yes. So the claims are approved as presented. Move on to resolution 2020-11-01. And this is for an extremity.
This is the final resolution as part of this project, and the reason why we moved the date. We needed that 30-day time period in between our last meeting and this meeting. This is the actual disposition of that piece of equipment. So you will approve this resolution if you so choose, and at the end of that, there will be a bill of sale that you will also sign, basically selling the piece of equipment to Next Extremity. So this resolution is just authorizing the disposition of that piece of equipment, and then we'll issue a bill of sale to Next Extremity, and that $250,000 will go to capital equipment.
One question I had, Jeremy, is was the original agreement for 200,000 or 2 million or for 2.5 million? Because this agreement earmarks approximately $2 million, and I thought it was originally 2.5.
No, it was,
Paragraph 5.
no, it was 2 million if I remember. I mean, I can go back and look and let you know, but I thought it was 2 million always.
Should this be amended then to 2.5 million?
No. This 250,000 is part of that $2 million.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's part of it.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to clarify that, thank you.
Nope, no problem. Is there any questions on the resolution? Outside of Tim's question?
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion one way or the other.
I'll step up, I'll make that motion.
That was Mike Lenderis.
Yes.
Mike makes a motion to approve the resolution 2020-11-01 as presented. Do I hear a second?
This is Rick, I'll second that.
Rick seconds that. Okay. Go to the roll call vote. Rich Snodgrass?
Yes.
Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Yes. George Clemens?
I'll abstain.
You will abstain? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Make a note of that. Mike Lenderis?
Yes.
And Tim Meyer says yes. So motion carries as presented. We'll move right along to the senior housing project. This will generate some discussion, I believe.
I'm sure it will. So the developer Inglewood of the senior housing development has requested some help with some additional cost overruns they have incurred on the project. They have to date estimated about $80,000 in cost overruns, most of it associated with hitting old foundry slag on the property. And I talked to Rick a little bit earlier, so I'll give you kind of a rundown. It wasn't so much the soil. They knew the soil issues and they had identified that they'd have to do pilings. What happened when they went to put the pilings down was they couldn't get past the slag. They couldn't get the pilings through the slag. So they ended up having to dig out the slag, which is what has created the issue and the additional cost in removing that dirt from the property. If they would have just been able to pile down through, they wouldn't have had any, obviously, slag to remove from the site. Given that they couldn't drive the piles, they had to actually bore out the slag to put the pilings down, which is what's created the cost overrun. They have requested whatever help we can offer. I looked at a couple of different options, and one of the options that I noticed that seemed the most easiest for us to complete was to install and pay for the pumps in the lift station. The lift station will become ours. They are installing that lift station. There's more than one user of that lift station, and we will own it at the end. So the easiest solution was to quantify that cost. The cost that I have at this point is that they estimate that those pumps will cost just under $16,000 to be installed. So my request to the Redevelopment Commission is if we so choose to help participate in those cost overruns, that we would not exceed the $16,000 that it would cost to place pumps in the lift station.
Jeremy, how many other people will be using and benefiting from that lift station?
Two others. The church
Okay.
and the development. So currently, there's a sanitary sewer line that runs down that alley. That sanitary sewer line is not functioning. We had been set to repair that sanitary sewer line, but because of this development, we are not going to. We're replacing that sewer line because it was backflowing. So basically, it did not have a positive flow from point A to point B. It basically just backed up until hydraulically it would flow out. So I had a reverse slope on the pipe. And this is all James. I mean, that's one of the pipes we had identified that needed to be fixed. When this project came on board, we knew obviously we weren't going to fix the pipe. So we have come up with this lift station to serve those two property owners.
Okay.
Okay, and they did test samples prior to construction.
Yes, they did. It was not the soil that was the issue. They knew that what soil was there. They knew they had to do the pilings. They still installed all the pilings. The issue was when they went to install the pilings, they could not get the piles to go down through the slag. So they had to dig the slag out to put the pilings down.
Jeremy, how deep were those soil samples?
I'm guessing 20 to 25 feet, somewhere in that range.
And where are they running in, at what foot, how many feet are they running into trouble with the piling?
So the ones that they had issues getting through the slag, some of them they only were able to drill down 3 or 4 feet before they hit the slag, and they couldn't get it to go past that.
So,
Most of the pilings are about 13 to 15 feet deep, I believe.
So they should have known that slag was there.
Yeah, I don't think it was a matter of them knowing that the slag was there. I think it was a matter of them not knowing that they couldn't drive the pilings through the slag.
And I guess my question is, why is that our problem?
Honestly, I mean, I don't think I can't give you an answer of why we should or shouldn't. I can only tell you that this is my recommendation. Do I think we owe them any additional money? No. Do I think this is 72 residential affordable housing units for seniors, and anything we contribute reduces the cost, the long-term cost for those seniors to be housed? Yes. So that's the goal. And our 16,000 contribution is going towards that goal.
Well, I guess I'm looking at the standpoint of the general taxpayers here. You know, should they have to pay anything for, a cost overrun of a project that somebody else has taken over? Is there not contracts state that effect?
No, we absolutely do not have to contribute to this project if that's what you're asking. This was their request, and after some conversations with the mayor, I kind of laid out what my thought process was and how I felt we can contribute if we so choose to contribute, but that I needed to get the cost associated with that. After getting what I believe is the estimated cost for those pumps, my recommendation is if we are to contribute to the project, this is how I would contribute to the project, would be a not to exceed 16,000 for the purchase and installation of the pumps.
And we would be paying that eventually anyhow. We're paying it based on an estimate at this point instead of waiting until it's completed and then paying the actual cost.
Sort of. It's a little bit complicated because the pump manufacturer was him-hawing back and forth about how they can't split out the pump price because it's all one package deal. Because most of these lift stations come in package deals where you have your rails, your electrical components, your pumps. And what I'm suggesting is that we're paying for the pumps. I'm not paying to install the whole lift station, which would be quite a bit more money. What I'm suggesting we do is pay to install the pumps. So we're trying to cut out, they're going to install the whole lift station, and we're going to come and drop the pumps.
Okay. And is it normal for the developer to absorb the cost of the lift station?
Sometimes. It depends. I mean, there's a couple of projects that we're going to be talking about in our residential districts, in which I think we're going to be the ones that are going to pay for that lift station.
Yeah, that's a little different.
It's a little bit different, but it's the same thing. We're trying to promote development, and this is a 72-unit housing development, so, in which we have contributed. I'm not, obviously we've contributed money to this project. We want this project to happen. It was part of our Stellar agreement. I think they've just come to us basically stating if there's any way you can help, we'd appreciate it. The cost that we've incurred and will incur is greater than what we anticipated. So this is what I'm bringing to you. I mean, I can't force you to approve it. I could just tell you my opinion and my recommendation is if you were to choose to do so, I don't think it would be out of line to pay to have the pumps installed in the lift station.
Jeremy, this is George. Are you saying you're a little sympathetic with them because the city saved money by not redoing those lines that we would have had to do for the church, and the church will be also, basically tapping into this lift station? Are you saying that perhaps that's why we should?
Yeah, I think there's a reasonable conclusion that if this development didn't happen, we probably would have had, I don't know, $50,000 to $100,000 in trying to figure out relaying a line or building a lift station because of the reverse flow on that pipe. This was a solution for us and for them because there's no way for them to gravity flow into that pipe because of the grade issues. It was part of the old storm. I think it was an actual old storm pipe that they were using. It had reverse grade. They tied it in. They used it as a sanitary sewer, but it was not a good situation.
Okay, thank you.
I'll say the rest of you.
Mayor, what say ye?
Oh, I'd like to hear your discussion first.
That's what's happening.
You've heard it, I think.
I'm in support of it because I think the critical nature of the housing issue in our community is important. We went into this in good faith with the developer. We have contributed a certain amount. We could have contributed more initially. The more you contribute, the more points you get on the rental housing tax credit scoring. So, we could have up front, and I guess had we done more up front, I might have been a little less hesitant, but we were pretty methodical in what we wanted to give them with the expectation that they weren't going to run into a problem. So, I mean, I can go either way. I just do tend to feel like, Jeremy, this is a project that is important to the community, and that's why we're on board with it. That's why we're partnering with the state in the form of the tax credits. That's why we supported this project and actually submitted the application for the developer for the housing tax credit portion of it, and we've already contributed a portion of it. I would just call it a good faith partnership for a project that's very, very important to our community right now. Excuse me.
Well,
Jeremy, I don't feel like we have to do anything.
Well, this George again, I would just say I'm sympathetic with the request that Jeremy is making because if it truly saves us $100,000 in the worst case scenario or more, having to do all those repairs if this project wasn't happening, and the city will be taking ownership anyway, then that makes me a little more sympathetic with helping with this. And drifting Jeremy's request, how do you others feel about this?
George, good comments. Not to mention the 72 units, I think I heard, and a very, very sound and positive development for that area market center. So I'm strongly in favor of it.
You're talking about the $16,000 estimate for the pumps.
Yes, the 16,000. I do support Jeremy's recommendation.
Since we are gonna probably pay for it anyhow at the end.
Good point.
So we're not out any additional funds, we're just paying it early. Is that correct?
Yeah, if nothing had happened here, we would have had to fix that pipe.
Yeah. Okay. So, does somebody want to make a motion to that effect?
Tim, I would just say my comments were on top of that. I mean, you know, that Jeremy's original presentation goes without saying. I think that, to me, really justifies it, but my comments about the worth of the project and the value, the critical shoring of housing is on top of that.
Jeff Gross, I move to approve the request by the city planner, $16,000.
Okay, we have a motion to pay for the pumps for $16,000. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
That was George?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Pay $16,000 for the pumps, recall, voice call. Rick Snodgrass?
Yes,
Rick, yes. Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Yes. George Clemens?
Yes.
Yes. Mike Lendaris?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Tim Myers, I'll vote yes as well. So it's unanimous, we will pay for the pumps for the 16,000, not to exceed 16,000, is that
That's correct.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Just want to clarify that. Okay. Good discussion. Thank you. Thank you for everybody's honest opinion on that. We appreciate that. Moving on. The airport hangar door.
So once again, I'm requesting that the Warsaw Redevelopment Commission participate in the reconstruction or replacement of the airport hangar door. The city owns the airport hangar. The door has been failing for a number of years, and the cost to continue to maintain it has been high. The projected expected cost is a total of $674,262. We are being requested to contribute $175,000 out of Northern TIF District to go towards that cost of replacement. I did attach kind of a spreadsheet that the mayor had put together of the appropriations that would be paying for this. So there's some money that's going to be coming out of edit and some money that will be coming out of the airport's funds to pay for the total cost of replacement. This is an economic development project. Obviously, the city's airport's a large part of our ability to draw in companies and their use of that airport. So it is not out of line to use these Northern TIF funds to support that door cost.
Okay. Are there any comments?
my understanding, Jeremy, that you also got an extension of 5 years on the lease,
That's correct, yes.
an additional $1,400.
Yeah, the airport is going to get a higher lease rate for replacing this door on their end, yeah, and an extension of the lease.
How much is the addition to the lease?
$1,400.
I'm sorry?
$1,400 a month.
Yeah.
A month? Okay. Is there a reason why it's not all coming out of edit?
It could have all come out of edit, but edit has a little bit more flexibility in terms of location, whereas Northern TIF District, we have to make improvements within that TIF district. So there's other economic development projects we're working on within edit that don't have maybe the availability of funds within the Northern TIF District. So this allows us a little bit more flexibility when we use those edit funds to target some of our other redevelopment projects, one of which is in the Central TIF District, or will be in the Central TIF District.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
You know, I guess I'd chime in, and what I'm going to say, I think I could have said during the last discussion, and that is that we are the Redevelopment Commission, and it's our mandate to keep reinvesting and redeveloping in our community. And by pitching in and helping with a utility piece of equipment that we are eventually going to end up regardless, and by reinvesting in our airport, which I strongly support, we're doing our job. And by continually reinvesting and redeveloping in our community, it's imperative. So if anyone else has anything to say, I'll be quiet. Otherwise, I'd make a motion.
Jeff Gross, well said, Mike. I encourage you to make that motion.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
well, so Mike, are you making that motion for the entire
Sure.
175?
Yeah, I had an at-length discussion today with airport director, and yeah, we have to keep reinvesting. So yes, I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion is made by Mike Senderos. Do I hear a second?
Rick? I'll second that motion.
Rick made a motion. To second that motion, okay. We'll call roll call vote on that. Rick Snodgrass,
Yes?
Jeff Gross,
Yes.
George Clemens,
Yes.
Mike Lendares,
Yes.
Tim Myers says yes. Okay, motion carries. All right, thank you. Good discussion. Yes.
Tim, point of order, did we miss item 3, Central TIF expansion? I'm seeing that.
I skipped over it because, I mean, it's more of a discussion item at this point, because I didn't get done what needed to get done to make it a agenda item. So I was going to bring it up into discussion here shortly.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Nope,
Thank
nope.
you.
I appreciate you noticing.
We can go to that right now if you'd like. We have a motion carried on that.
So
Hangar door, so we can go right to that.
did you approve the hangar door? Sorry, I was.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I did send out in an email the temporary easement from NIPSCO, and I think she loaded it onto board pack. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at it. But due to kind of timing, I just got this a few hours ago. If you're willing to consider it, I'll go over the description of this project, and then we can decide whether or not you want to do this or potentially wait till the December. They kind of wanted the easement to start December 1st and be terminated on May 31st. The point of the easement is a temporary easement. NIPSCO has a rather large utility project replacing poles and line that's going to be running through a central part of downtown, including through Center Park. And part of that project, they'll need an area to, what they call lay down poles, which is where they'll store their poles while they're doing the construction. They have requested to store their poles on the old gas station that we had acquired last year. That time frame would be from December 1st through May 31st. They did ask for a second time frame to occur later in the fall. At this point, we're only willing to commit to that December 1st through May 31st. But there may be another request coming at you after May for some additional time frame if we're not doing anything with that property. So the terms would be for that time period. There is a dollar amount in here, but they're requesting, obviously, to not cost any money, but they are willing to pay, I believe, up to, let me find my phone. I think it's $500 a month for that lease. Yeah, $500 a month for that lease. But their request is for us to allow them to use it without any cost.
Could we get our Christmas lights on December for free?
Yeah. I'm kind of mixed. I may be honest with you. I'm probably, if you were to ask me, I'd probably lean towards just letting them use that temporarily without any cost. I would rather have our good faith in our back pocket for when we need something for NIPSCO than the $3,000, because whatever we need from NIPSCO is probably going to cost more than $3,000 at some point in time.
Good point.
So that's just my 2 cents.
Are we certain that we're not going to need that use that property for any purpose during that time period?
Yeah, I think we're fairly safe from December to May, because anything we would do wouldn't get kicked off probably until after May. And we're probably going to be good to use it even later in the fall, but we wanted to leave that open and just in case. I mean, there's some ideas and projects that we're kicking around, but I don't have a time frame for when those would occur.
Have the underground storage tanks been removed from that property?
Yes, all of that was done through IDEM. We were able to work with IDEM. They came up and they did a great job of helping us out and taking those storage tanks out and addressing that issue.
Great. So there's no additional encumbrances and possibility to that property at this point?
No, matter of fact, I think last month we paid like $300, if you remember correctly, or a couple, whatever it was like a nominal fee for some kind of recording fee or something that they did after they removed those tanks. They sent us a bill for like $200 or something.
Yeah. Get it recorded that we removed it.
Yeah, significantly cheaper than, what was it? Yeah, it was $360. Significantly cheaper than removing the tanks and backfilling and removing the contaminated soil.
Yeah.
I think we made out on that deal.
Okay.
Jeremy?
I move. Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
How many poles are you talking about?
There's quite a few. Basically, they're running from all the way north of Warsaw, all the way down through Warsaw, and then south and somewhat, I think, east, up to R.R. Donnelly, and then south. So it's quite a run. But this is not the only location. This location, I think, would be primarily for those poles that would be within Warsaw. They have some other areas in the county that they'll be laying down poles that'll be out in the county.
Well, the reason I ask is that North Detroit Street is a heavily trafficked street, and
Which is primarily,
I was thinking about safety. If you got
Yep.
a lot of traffic, trucks and long poles, and is that going to be an impedance? Is that going to create situations? That's the only reason I ask.
it's going.
I was just going to ask that same question. As far as sight on that, turning in and out of the street there next to it.
Down street.
We didn't want to, yeah, we did not want to impede the driver's sight from pulling out into traffic.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think what makes this an ideal location is all of the poles that are replaced are going to be on 15. There's going to be lane restrictions on 15 as they replace these poles, and it'll run through Center Park and then up through Center Street. And so, I mean, where this location is, the reason I think they liked this site was because that's where a lot of the poles are going to be replaced.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of lane
I
restrictions.
just like to put a restriction on them to say, hey, don't park trucks and stuff there where it would impede the sight of somebody pulling out from that intersection.
We'll have a conversation with them, but no, I don't think that'll be a problem.
Okay. We'll know soon enough.
Oh yeah, and they'll address it. If we have a problem, they'll address it. I'm not worried about that. And
Okay.
like I said, I do agree, Mike, it is going to be a mess, but quite frankly, they're going to have lanes shut down as the project's going to be a project like any other construction project. You're going to want to avoid that area while they're replacing the poles, but there'll be lane restrictions and so forth. But it's a project that needs to happen.
Yeah. Well, the good part is maybe it'll slow traffic down a little bit.
It'll definitely slow traffic down, probably more than what people want.
Yeah.
Jeremy, this is Rick.
Yeah.
If someone would go on the site and let's just say one of the poles would roll
Yep.
and hurt, are they assuming all liability for that?
Yeah, so if you see item number 5, the grantee shall and will indemnify and save the grantee harmless from any and against any and all damage, injuries, losses, claims, demands, or costs, proximity caused by fault, culpability, or neglect of the grantee in the use of the easement area. So yes, that is covered.
Excellent.
Well, you've answered my questions, and if they want to get going on it, I wouldn't have an issue with it.
Okay. So do we, somebody want to make a motion to that effect? I'm sorry, Rick, can you speak up a little bit, please?
I'll make the motion to approve the easement
With or without payment?
without.
Without payment, okay. The motion is to accept the agreement without payment. Do I hear a second?
Jeff Gross, second.
Jeff seconds, okay. Roll call vote, Rick Snodgrass,
Yes.
yes. Jeff Gross,
Yes.
George Clemens,
Yes.
Mike Clenderis,
I'm willing to work with them, yes.
Jim Meyer, yes. Okay. I think that covers all the business we had to do. Do we have any other business for the group tonight, Jeremy? Anything else?
So the only other thing I was going to tell you was that I am trying to work on a central TIF expansion. Ideally, the purpose of this expansion was to accommodate Hoplar for a riverfront liquor license. I'm trying to work through some details. We may end up excluding, I was trying to bring in the old Owens property along with this expansion, so I only had to do it once. But we may have to exclude it and come back and do another expansion. But I'll figure that out over the next month as we prepare. So in December, I hopefully will have before you a TIF expansion for the central TIF, primarily for a liquor license to enable Hoplar to get a liquor license for the Riverfront District.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. And we'll door. But that's another story.
I'm not drinking anymore. I'm not
It's all
drinking
water,
anymore.
it's all water, it's all about water.
Yeah, it's riverfront. Mr. Mayor, do you have any other comments you'd like to make to this illustrious group?
No, I think the discussion was good. I know they're thoughtful discussions on the senior housing project. I'm really excited at how quickly they've gotten to where they've gotten. Obviously, the weather's helping, but they're really making some good progress. And it's exciting to see that that's going to really make a great addition to that whole Market Street corridor. And that's the improvements that we've been looking at, again, since Stellar, I think Jeremy mentioned. And I think our participation and collaboration is critical, and I do appreciate your thoughtful conversation on that. Same with the hangar door. Not much else to be said on that, other than I think it's going to fall down one of these days. Maybe not literally, but we're spending a lot of money every year to replace it, so it certainly makes sense, or not to replace it, but to repair it. So it certainly makes sense for us to consider this replacement and get it done. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Mayor,
sir.
when will that door be replaced? Do you have any idea? Will that go pretty quick, or,
Well, it's got to be ordered, and
as I say, you can't go to Menards and get one.
no, it's a pretty good unit. You know, the other thing that I don't think was mentioned, and I did mention it at the Board of Works the other day, that door is also going to be wider, and it's going to expand the opportunities to get different size aircraft, larger aircraft in there, and that's a big deal. So it's going to help us on a lot of different fronts. You know, right now we're limited by the width of those doors, and this will take care of that.
Excellent.
Poplar coming downtown, I think, is a pretty exciting event. That's gonna be a nice draw.
Yeah, especially into a building that's been underutilized for some time now.
Jeremy, correct me, is my memory correct? Riverfront, doesn't that have to be within 1,500 feet?
It has to be within 1,500 feet unless there is some unusable, undevelopable property, i.e. floodplain, wetlands. Because there's some floodplain down there, that allows us to increase it to, I think, 3,500 feet, which is what we'll be proposing as part of this expansion of the TIF and then expansion of the Riverfront District.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Any additional subjects you want to bring up?
I think that's all I have for today, unless there's any questions. Work continues on the Buffalo Street Plaza. We're probably looking at sometime end of February, maybe March, when it's all done. We're still dealing with material issues and not being able to get materials, so it's kind of delaying the project a little bit. But if you haven't been down there, the concrete's been poured. They're installing the interactive fountain. Hopefully in another couple of weeks, we'll maybe seeing the art piece installed. And then come February, end of February, March, the pavilion and the boardwalk should be done.
Super.
Okay.
Excited.
Jeremy, thanks for all your hard work. I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating. Appreciate it very much. Always delight to hear
George
your
has come sign.
opinions, and appreciate the mayor attending and giving his remarks as well. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, Tim and George, Tim and George, when you have time, we do have some things for you to sign if you can pop in.
Yeah, I'll stop by tomorrow afternoon, and do you need anything quicker than that?
No, that should be fine.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
All All right, thank you.
I'm done. I'll be in Wednesday. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, George. Good night, everyone.
Good
Thanks,
enough.
Jen.
everyone.
All right, see you guys.
Hey, Jeremy, what is boundary slag? Is it just a type of? When they used to, well, foundries, they used molds. When they poured whatever product they were pouring, they would use molds, and those molds had slag in them. So when I say foundry slag, it's slag that has been used by a foundry to mold a product. And they would use that slag until they couldn't use it anymore, and then they would dump it somewhere.
Slag's a form of metal, right? Or
Slag
sand.
is, no, slag is not. It's a type of sand.
So it's left over from factory.
It's from the molds.
Yeah.
No, Dalton's has a lot of it.
Well, that's where all of it came from.
They take it out for 25 now and dump it down there.
We should probably turn the video off before we talk about that, but
Well, waste, I wouldn't have their waste management.
although everybody already knows that.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so what's this? Is this an original right here, Jeremy?
Yeah, that's what I'll have him sign.
Okay.
Oh, I gotta tell you, I like this new system.
Seems you're better.
Oh my
A
gosh,
lot
yeah.
better. A lot better. You can kind of see, I can see what's going on.
Maybe almost a little too much, but, and the visual was nice, seeing it up there, you know,
Yeah, whichever way you look.
Yeah.
Do you want to shut that off over there and see how it shuts down?
I don't know. You usually just push this button.
Yeah, just push it and hold it for a second, then just let go of it.
And it's blank.
Yeah.